Facebook page. Some inventory, unique colors, and new styles. Only stay in stock for a day or two. So be in the know and update your knife collection the smart way. Follow Blademans today. As always, 10% discount for police and military and on-site sharpening service. Join the community of premium blade buffs at Blademans Facebook and Instagram today.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Join us November 19th for the 17th annual Christmas on Broadway as we line up in front of the Shine and Hardin building for the annual Christmas tree lighting and celebration. The fun starts at 5:30. Come see the 40-foot-tall tree get lit up. Enjoy the holiday fireworks display and much more. For more info on the event and to enter this year's coloring contest for great prizes, go to 1380thefan.com. Christmas on Broadway, presented by Shine and Hardin, Fort Wayne Comets, Associated Builders and Contractors, and 1380 The Fan at 100.9 FM.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Around the world, generations of leaders build new friendships and solve problems, turning great ideas into reality. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org/action.
Using meth taught me everything about freedom, only not like you think. It taught me how easy it is to lose your freedom. If you think meth is taking control of you, ask for help. You have the power to be truly free. I know. I'm Jan, and I'm free from meth.
If you or someone you know is struggling with meth, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/meth.
Broadcasting live from the Masters Heating and Cooling Studios. This is WKJG 1380 AM, 100.9 FM, Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Fan. This is an exclusive presentation of high school sports on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. This is the High School Coaches Show. Here's your host, Justin Kenny.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Regional Championship Week edition of the High School Coaches Show. I am Justin Kenny here till 7 o'clock talking area high school football as we wean down from Sectional Championship Week a week ago, now heading into regionals where we have several teams vying for regional championships. We're going to break it all down over the next hour. Coach Michael Moser will join us here just a couple seconds of the Adams Central Flying Jets. And then we'll talk about his challenger tomorrow night. The South Adams Starfires head coach Grant Moser will join us. And then at 6:45 this evening, head coach Doug Dinan of the Carroll Chargers will join the show. We'll talk about the Westfield Shamrocks and everything you need to know about the 6A Regional coming up tomorrow night. But let's jump right into it. On the phone with us right now, head coach of the Adams Central Flying Jets, Michael Moser. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Coach. Congratulations. Another win and another dominant win last week at home against Triton. Take us through a game that you guys look to be in charge of from the opening kick.
Well, yeah, we did well offensively. I think we scored on like the first three possessions, which is very unusual. I just think that Triton's defense was not up to par. They were much more better geared at their offensive unit than their defensive unit, and then we kind of settled down and just kind of controlled the ball after that. But offensively, they had a power back, very good. Didn't go down easy. Gave us that we were in control of the game, yes, but I don't think we played that great defensively in terms of shutting that kid down effectively. And so wasn't too happy about that, but happy about the win, and hopefully this week we can correct some things and get after it.
Coach, it was a challenging win at Cherubusco to open the sectional season for you, and it's been two blowouts since. Have you liked your team's response to after Cherubusco to come back locked in back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, I'm very, very happy about that. Our kids are playing hard. They're playing fast. We knew that the Bucko game was going to be a tremendous challenge. For 2 weeks, you kind of dread that game because you know what it's going to take, and I'm not sure how it's going to come out. And our kids really stuck together. They, we had a tough first half. We controlled the ball. We maintained the lead, and then the second half, the guys really started pushing and surging and getting ahead and win. And I've been really pleased with how they've responded from that. I don't think we've played our best game against them, and afterwards they've come out and really have done everything that we've asked them to do. And they take one game at a time, and I really appreciate that. They focus on who our opponent is and work hard each week to prepare.
Coach, way back in 2019, it was a South Adams team that seemed destined for a deep run in the playoffs, and Adams Central, you could say it was an upset in the playoffs after getting trounced in the regular season in the ACAC play. This year, it's kind of a turnaround. Everybody's looking at AC as making that run. Yeah. South Adams trying to avenge a lopsided loss in the regular season. Yeah. Has that conversation come up this week? Because they're almost mirror images of each other.
Of course it has, because the seniors on this team were sophomores on that team, and they experienced that and know what that's about. And yeah, we were not supposed to win that ballgame by any stretch at all. But we had a really good game plan. We came in and we're confident and we're able to pull off what seems to be an impossibility. And our kids know that South Adams can do that too. They know that they remember that well. They know that as a rival, they didn't like the fact that we knocked them off and shouldn't have, and now they think it's their turn to be able to do the same. And we'd be coaching up our kids the same way they are coaching up theirs. If they're going to beat us, they're going to have to definitely come out and play hard and do things the right way. And we have to prevent that from happening. We can't be in there. We can't come in overconfident. We can't come in thinking this is going to be easy. Just because we beat them some 40 points in the regular season, in the playoff, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And to beat a team twice, I've always said this, always tell the kids this, to beat a team twice is very difficult, and it could be totally different. So we have to go in with the right mindset, and our kids have to be focused, and they have to play hard, and they have to not let things like that determine how we play.
Coach, South Adams in the muck a couple weeks ago was able to avenge a loss to Monroe Central. I'm sure South Adams was doing the rain dance. Of course, it rains today, and hopefully it'll be dry tomorrow. But in terms of preparing for those kinds of conditions, is there a way to replicate it?
No, no. You can't. You just have to go in prepared that it may be a wet game, and kids have to be prepared for that. There's no way to even try to match that unless it had been raining all week and the practice field was horrible, but really hasn't been. It's been pretty good. So we're just going to go in there with the mindset of no matter what happens, we're going to play our game. We're not going to make any excuses about the weather or the state of the field. We're just going to go play our game and try our best to hold on to the ball and try our best to move the ball and try our best to stop them.
Coach, when you look at your personnel, we talk about the usual suspects. I wanted to ask you about Ryan Black, your quarterback, and he was in a quarterback battle with your son last year as a starter, and was able to start for you last year. Now he starts this year, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's Adams Central. All they has to do is hand off the football," but he's been directly responsible for 25 touchdowns, being able to direct this offense and hit some targets downfield in the pass game. I mean, what can you say about this junior quarterback?
He has really stepped up. There was a lot of uncertainty with him last year, and he wasn't very grown up at all last year, and he had to really try to grow up and made a lot of sophomore mistakes, and this year he has really stepped into his role. I mean, he does it well. Not perfect by any stretch, but always goes around, always works hard, is a good leader. Runs the ball real effectively, passes when we need him to, and knows the offense. He's another coach on the field, and he's really developed into that. And I can say through the years, a lot of our quarterbacks have been able to do that. I think that's a big part of our success. The quarterback at Adams Central doesn't get a lot of recognition because the stats are not there. They're not there. Yeah. And it's hard to really get that recognition. But for us and what we do, we love a field general, and that's what he is. And he's not going to get tons of recognition. And we don't play for recognition. We play for team wins, and that's his mentality, and that's our mentality, and that's what we're trying to do.
Coach Aiden Warner is going to play in this game for South Adams. He didn't play the first time around. What kind of added dynamic does he add to the table that you guys have to be ready for?
Well, I think number one, he brings leadership to their team, and he brings confidence. You know, that they didn't have the first time they played us. They're going to play with a whole lot more confidence, knowing that they have their senior leader back and who is experienced and is a great athlete and all of that. So we have to be ready to neutralize that as much as possible. We can't let him dictate what it is that this game does. You know, we have to take the game to him. We can't let him stand back there in the pocket and pick us apart. You know, we have to have a plan defensively in order to stop him and Trey Shock and not let you guys beat us. And that's what we're really working hard to prevent.
All right, Coach, we've talked about it so much about South Adams, Adams Central being so close and so good over the years. But, you know, one thing is in the season, but you're competing to be in the Final Four of Class 1A, and I can't imagine what Adams County is like, this week, and the hype and the buzz around this game, considering the winner is one step away from the state championship game. What's it say about the county and you guys' two programs?
Well, it does say that there's good traditions here in Adams County, and I think it brings excitement for us and them, and it's just two good football teams, two good programs battling it out, and we'll see what happens in the end result here. But it's very strange to be playing your rival in the regional championship. It's just kind of strange, and we're only 6 miles apart. You would think that should happen in the sectional, but it is what it is, and it's happened before, and we're excited to play, and I know they are too, and it just adds to the excitement. You got two communities that love their football teams and care a whole lot about who wins the game, and so it's a lot riding on it, and it just adds to it.
All right, Coach, I know you're a busy guy here on the eve of a big game coming up tomorrow night, so thanks a lot for the time. Good luck tomorrow night at Byrne.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
That was Coach Michael Moser, head coach of the Adams Central Flying Jets. His team sitting at 11-1 and a sectional championship in the bag from sectional 44 a week ago. It was a sectional that saw Adams Central outscore its opponents 130-18. The big game, of course, being that sectional opener at Cherubusco, a 25-15 victory. Adams Central followed it up 56-0 over Southwood, 49-3 over Triton. And the Flying Jets now will get the Starfires tomorrow night, the regional championship on the line. We're going to take a break. We'll talk the other side of this matchup when we come back. Head coach Grant Moser will join us when we return. It's the High School Coaches Show here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Jason Horwitz here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. It's AFC action from South Florida when the Dolphins host the Ravens. Miami coming off its second win of the season, breaking a 7-game losing skid. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback last week. And now the Dolphins face one of the conference's top teams with Lamar Jackson and the 6-2 Ravens coming to town. Baltimore head coach John Harbaugh says he never doubted his team in last week's come-from-behind overtime win over the Vikings.
I trust our guys to make plays and make blocks. You got Lamar. Our running backs really stepped it up to play great football. I mean, I could sit here and talk about everybody. The offensive line, we ran the ball to win the game at the end. So those are the things that that goes all into that faith in the ball. That's what all goes into that.
Ian Eagle and Ross Tucker will have all the action when the Dolphins host the Ravens on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM, Fort Wayne Sports Station.
Napa know-how. When you buy the Napa bag for 99 cents, you'll get 20% off 3 or more items. No other bag saves you 20% on wipers, premium oil, headlamps, and more, which makes the Napa bag the best bag in the world. Sorry, handbags, man bags, punching bags, bagpipes, and even you, bags out of the eyes. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating locations, does not include taxes and fees. Advertised sale price not available in some states. Offer ends 11/30/21.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
What are you doing?
Chipping away at my credit card debt, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Slowly paying off credit card debt? There's a better way. Lightstream. With Lightstream, you could get a low fixed-rate credit card consolidation loan from $5,000 to $100,000. Pay off those credit card balances in one fell swoop. With a special radio listener discount, rates start at 4.88% APR with auto pay and excellent credit. But only when you go to lightstream.com/radio.
My loan was approved in minutes and funded in a day.
Apply today and get the discounted radio rate from 4.88% APR with auto pay and excellent credit. The only way to get this reduced rate is to go to this exclusive URL today, lightstream.com/radio. That's lightstream.com/radio to get this rate. Lightstream.com/RADIO.
Subject to credit approval. Rates with this discount range from 4.88% APR to 19.99% APR and includes 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Here's more from the High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan at 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone, to the High School Coaches Show, Regional Championship Week edition. I am Justin Kenny with producer John Graham here till 7 o'clock talking area high school football. It'll be Pacers tonight. Pacers Jazz. You can hear coverage starts about 8:30 this evening here on these very same airwaves. Tomorrow night, it'll be the game of the week. Tomorrow, it will be Westfield and Carroll out at Carroll Field tomorrow night. But a big one, the only one, pitting area teams against each other tomorrow night is in Class 1A in Bern. It's Adams Central and South Adams. We talked to Coach Michael Moser. Now we're going to talk to Coach Grant Moser. Coach, how are you?
Hello?
Are you there?
Justin.
What?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. How you doing?
It's downhill from here, let me tell you. Despite our best efforts, you won again last week, which I guess, we have to have you on the radio. But took care of business at Union City, which is, you're a stone's throw from Ohio in Union City, aren't you?
Yeah, we were right beside the border. It's I think it's like a 10-minute drive from Ohio. About an hour drive for us. But, yeah, excited to be here, obviously.
Absolutely, and familiar opponent for sure. And you must have very much welcomed the rain today. But let's ask, how is the field looking?
Right now, it honestly looks good. If you look at it from the stands, we had our guys out there, our maintenance guys. I think finally got to roll it for the first time Monday, 8 days after we played, which is crazy. Got to roll it, which helped to at least level it out. Now, I walked on it right after practice, and it is wet. It's going to be muddy, no doubt about it. It just holds water horribly. But, again, that's not something I'm necessarily mad about right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah, AC, a loaded team. They proved that earlier this year against us already, so anything to even the playing field, right?
Absolutely. I mean, did it help significantly in that Monroe Central game?
I mean, the thing that we embraced it. So I think we talked after that game, or before that game, you and I talked. And I remember as we were talking that Thursday night, we were on the practice field in the mud. So same thing tonight. Our practice field is just as muddy. We even watered it down a couple weeks ago, so it's pure mud. So we spent the entire practice tonight in the mud. And our guys get frustrated, and Aiden throws the ball, and it's incomplete by 10 feet, and he gets frustrated. Hey, it's going to be the same way tomorrow night, and we're preparing for it. So we embraced that 2 weeks ago and beat a team that was better than us in Monroe Central, a team that was bigger than us. They're faster than us. They had 3-year seniors, similar to AC. So we're hoping for the same result tomorrow night. Obviously, a huge task.
Yeah, I asked, Michael Moser. I said, it feels like forever ago, but in 2019, it was South Adams with the team that a lot of people thought could get down to state, and in regional, Adams Central, pulled the upset. And he said, we remember, and that's kind of been a message to some of his kids that were sophomores back then. So has that been talked about with you guys as well this week?
Sure, absolutely. It's just you can always reverse the role. So we go back even to 2016, where number one team in the state, Woodland, came to Bern after they beat us 36-0 this season, and we upset them. And then 2013, 2014, go back even to that, where AC beat us in the season and we beat them in the sectional. 2019, like you said, we beat them in the season by 35 points, and they turned around on us in the sectional or in the regional. And then this year, Monroe Central beat us 23-0, shut us out, and then with the mud, we beat them. So it can happen, like you always hear, but it's hard to beat a team twice. And our seniors don't want to be done. They don't. We have an incredible senior class. We have new confidence now with Aiden Water back, A.J. Dahl, Trey Schock, Parker Bryan's back as well from week 5. Parker Bryan's a big 285-pound offensive defensive tackle who didn't play against AC the first time, had concussion against Monroe Central in week 5. So he's back, which will help us tremendously against their big offensive and defensive lines. And then, like I said, Aiden back, just the captain he is and the leadership he brings, the confidence he brings, and the ability to make plays with his legs at the quarterback position. So they have an incredible defense. We had trouble scoring with them against them the first time in good weather. So we'll work out for us definitely offensively tomorrow night.
How much can you take from the Monroe Central game in that you were dominated on the road in the regular season, and then they have to come to your place in the playoffs and you win? Very same situation here with AC.
Yeah, we finished practice, and I told them right there, there's zero pressure in Bern, and you know they're hearing it in Monroe. They're talking about the field and the weather. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the whole community. Talking about the texts that people have gotten in Bern. How's the field? How's the field? That's been the buzz around Southern Adams County the entire week, and I know all the pressure is in Monroe right now. They've earmarked this senior class similar to us last year as the team that's going to go to Luke Swell Stadium. So that puts more pressure on them. So I told our guys tonight, let's go out and have fun, play free. I mean, we're used to the mud. We played in it. We played well in it. They haven't played in the mud like this yet, so let's go out and just try and hang around. And the more we hang around, the more nervous they're going to get because, again, this is their year. The back of their heads, they think this is their year, so if we can just hang around and put a little pressure on them early and get them out of their element a little bit and they start freaking out, then we have a chance to win, hopefully.
Could the sprinklers accidentally be left on between now and tomorrow night?
I've been asked that so many times. Unfortunately for us, they were already blown out earlier this year, so they're already done. Yeah, they might have been on. But no, it's the big benefit from this, Justin, is we're hoping that our field gets torn up so much they have to do something about it next year. And something, right?
Yeah, but, if you have turf, who knows if you beat Monroe Central?
I don't think we do.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about that game is I don't know if we do. But so it's a great equalizer, but it's not necessarily something that you're proud of, having a field like that by any means. It's not. I mean, it's kind of almost a joke at this point that it's been 14 days since that game and it's still this wet. So I'm sure we'll come this offseason to hopefully get that fixed, and whether that's, I don't know, new pipes or whatever that is, but something's got to be done.
Well, you celebrated in style after the Monroe Central game and took a slide in the mud. So was that planned?
I tripped.
You tripped?
That was no. So my D coordinator made a bet with the guys. We knock off Monroe Central, they'll go sliding, and he did. And then they started chanting my name. Whenever my name's chanted, I have to give in to that chant. So I went and did the same thing. Had instant regret about that. My wife wasn't thrilled about that either when I came home.
I'm sure.
Made me change everything and hop in the pond, come inside. But yeah, it was just cool. And I told the guys last night. I mean, or I told them tonight even. We could knock off AC and knock off AC and go win state. I still think the best memory you would have as a senior would be knocking off AC on their year to win a regional. So that's kind of the mindset we have, is go out and play free and have fun.
Coach, you mentioned having Aiden Water back for this one. He didn't play the first time around. What does he add to this team in the lineup?
Oh, so much. And you talk all day about how athletic he is. He's our all-time career scoring leader, and he missed 9 games this year. He's third all-time career receiving. He's one of the best athletes to ever go through our school. Great arm. He's got a cannon. Also can run. He has great legs and can scramble well. But what's been awesome, just his leadership he's brought. I mean, the practice the last 2 weeks has just been different because he's been there. The energy, the enthusiasm, and the composure he brings, getting on guys, just changed our entire culture in the last 3 weeks.
All right, man. Big one, obviously, tomorrow night under the lights. What's it come down to?
I think defensively, we got to get them off schedule. And you always talk about it with AC. They have so many weapons, and they're so diverse, and they have so many guys you can't focus on one. But they'll just pound and go 4 or 5 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. So those first downs on defense are so important, where you either get them out of a 1-yard gain or a line of scrimmage room tackle for loss, and trying to get them in 3rd and 7 even, worse the passing situation, trying to get them off their schedule defensively. And we need them to make mistakes. Obviously, they're the better team. we need the mud to help us out and have them turn the ball over some. We got to take care of the ball on offense. But, again, it's fun to just go out and throw some tricks at them, everything we have. It's been fun having some trick stuff drawn up this week that they'll be ready for, I know, because we always throw it at them, but we'll have some new stuff and go out and play these seniors, hopefully not one last time, but just coming together and representing our community in Bern.
All right, buddy. Appreciate the time. As always, have a fabulous evening, and good luck tomorrow night.
See you, my man. Thanks for everything.
All right, buddy. That was Coach Grant Moser, head coach of the South Adams Starfires, joining us here on the High School Coaches Show. Quick rundown of the schedule coming up tomorrow night. Again, it's Regional Championship Friday, and let's start in 1A. We've broken it down here over the first 25 minutes of the show. Adams Central 11-1 at South Adams 10-2. It was a lopsided 40-plus point victory for Adams Central in the regular season over the Starfires. That one was in Monroe. This one is in Bern. We'll see if that makes a difference, and maybe a little wetness on the field as well coming up tomorrow night. In Class 2A, it's Eastbrook, undefeated at 11-0, heading to Eastside at 12-0. Who would have thought the Blazers would be in this position? Maybe not very many people outside of Butler, but they made it happen last week over Bishop Luers. And so the Eastside Blazers will entertain Coach Jeff Adamson and the Eastbrook Panthers tomorrow night, a battle of undefeated teams in Class 2A. Looking up at Class 3A, it'll be Norwell at 11-1. Coach Josh Gerber's team will host Brebeuf at 10-2. Brebeuf's two losses have come to Cathedral and Roncalli, arguably the runaway favorites in Class 5A and 4A, respectively. Big challenge for Norwell coming up tomorrow night. We were hoping to get Coach Josh Gerber on the line tonight, but he's actually having dinner with his old college coach this evening on the eve of a regional championship game for the Knights. So good luck to Norwell tomorrow night. Nobody left in Class 4A. How about that? It's Mississinawa and Northridge facing off the Sectional 19 and Sectional 20 winners as Ole Miss ousted both New Haven and Wayne over the past 2 weeks. Class 5A, it's a rematch of last year's regional as the Bishop Dwenger Saints head to Zionsville. It's 7-4 Dwenger, 7-5 Zionsville. Of course, Zionsville beat Bishop Dwenger last year on a last-second field goal by A.J. Vinatieri. It was a 30-21 final, but if you remember, it was a defensive touchdown on the final play of the game that made it a 9-point margin. So the son of Adam Vinatieri coming up big for Zionsville last year. He was only a junior last year, folks, so he's back and kicking. He could play a pivotal role tomorrow night against the Saints. And up in 6A, it's the Westfield Shamrocks taking the drive up I-69. They'll take on the Carroll Chargers tomorrow night. Westfield at Carroll. Battle of 10-1 teams, as that one will not kick off until a little later in the evening. It will be an 8 o'clock kickoff from Carroll for Westfield and the Chargers. We're going to break more of that game down a little later. We'll have Carroll coach Doug Dinan on to talk about that 6A showdown coming up. We're going to take a break. We'll be joined by Brice, Vance, KPC Media Group. When we come back, we'll talk some high school football. We'll also talk some girls basketball as well, as the season has started for the ladies over the last couple weeks. All that and more when we come back. You are listening to the High School Coaches Show on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
It doesn't take a brain surgeon to know ticks suck. But what you might not know is that they don't just suck blood way out in the woods. Those creepy little bugs can be anywhere, all year long. And I do mean little. They can be smaller than the head of a pin. But big trouble comes in these small, gross packages. Even a tiny tick can make you super sick. So what's the most important tip to avoid getting bit? Well, duh, pay attention. Remember, ticks can be just about anywhere outdoors. Then, spray attention with an EPA-registered insect repellent. Wearing long socks and other protective clothing is a good idea, too. When you come back inside, shower. And always remember, check for ticks everywhere. And if you do get a tick bite, don't panic. Tell an adult. And visit ticksuck.org to learn how to remove it properly. Ticks suck, but being outdoors shouldn't. Go to ticksuck.org for more information. Ticksuck.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help armed men and women reach full or mental. We're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Eleanor steals your heart. She was diagnosed at 5 weeks old, a type of leukemia, and it's associated with Down syndrome. Being able to come to St. Jude was a blessing and the best place for her. Talking to the doctors and nurses, they were on top of it. They got this, we got this, it's going to be okay, and we're going to get through this. Here, it's like a celebration of life. There's so much great stuff happening. The doctors and nurses are her best friends, and you can tell that they love her, and you could tell she loves them, and that relationship is just amazing. We're just so grateful for them.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Now back to the High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Regional Championship Week edition of the High School Coaches Show. And coming up here in a little bit, we'll talk to Carroll head coach Doug Dinan. We'll break down what's going down tomorrow night, the Carroll Chargers and Westfield Shamrocks. And I was gonna hold this till a little bit later, but just wanted to mention regarding Carroll is if they're victorious tomorrow and Maryville beats Penn, Carroll will host the North Semi-State next week, which would mean that the Carroll Chargers hosted every single round of the 6A playoffs. 2 sectional games, a regional, and a semi-state. That would be pretty crazy if it indeed comes to fruition. So maybe we'll talk to Coach Doug Dinan about that. But on the phone line right now with us, our friend from KPC Media Group, Mr. Brice Vance. Brice, how are you?
I'm doing good, Justin. How are you?
Excellent. And I know you're not out covering an event tonight. You are on babysitting duty. Is that correct?
Yes, I am, of my own child.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So I have a 6.5-month-old here giving me advice to be better on the radio.
Oh, very nice. And so is this the first time your wife has trusted you to watch the child by itself?
No. Luckily, this is probably my, I don't know, it feels like 100th. It feels like the kid's already 6 years old for how long these last 6.5 months have gone.
Oh, excellent. They always say it goes fast, but, those first couple months or first couple years, definitely a grind for sure. But
for sure.
But we can talk babies here all night, but we're going to talk some area high school football. And were you as shocked as a lot of other people were with the result at Lewis Field last week?
Yes, I was watching the stream of the game, and I wasn't surprised. The only thing that surprised me is how physical Eastside was against a line that I thought might have been a little bit more physical, a little bit bigger, and against Bishop Luers. I mean, Eastside dominated the line of scrimmage. They made life difficult for Clark back there in the backfield. And they really, when they had the ball on offense, they were, opening up holes for Laban Davis and Dax Holman. And it felt like that they were able to do whatever they want when they had the ball on offense. And that kind of surprised me just because of the competition that they go through each week and what Lewis has gone through and facing some, really stout and then, big defensive lines or offensive lines in the SAC where Eastside maybe hasn't faced that level. I thought that was going to be where Bishop Luers might have had an advantage, as well as their speed on the outside. But Eastside really, put it to them when they had the ball, and their offensive line really held up strong. And I think that was maybe the most surprising thing.
Brice, Eastside very similar to Adams Central and Leo in that they use that running game to really dictate what they do. And the fact is, you can stop them for 4 yards on a gain on first down, and they're still on schedule. All they need to do is get 3 or 4 yards per down, and they move the chains. How demoralizing is that for a team when you can't string together stops enough to force a punt or force a turnover?
Yeah, it's so demoralizing just because you feel like that maybe you stop them on third down, but then they decide to maybe go for a 4th and 1 or a 4th and 2. I mean, we see it, all the time with the teams like Leo or, even if you want to say at the college level, the teams that run the option like a Navy and that just played at Notre Dame last week. And they like to go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 because, most of the time their option offense is at least going to get them that yard and a half that they need. And that's just what Eastside was able to do. If you stop them for a short gain on first down and second down, they're still going to, find a way to hand the ball off or use some misdirection to get the ball to Dax Holman or, a handoff or a keeper from Laban Davis. And it just feels like he was able to find the holes throughout that Luers defensive front and be able to explode through them multiple times. He was definitely a masterful game plan that Todd Mason and the offense had coming in, and Laban Davis and Dax Holman in that offensive line executed it to perfection.
Talking to Coach Todd Mason after that game, he had a very Madden-like game plan in that he told me we were going to onside kick every time we kicked off, and we were going to fake punt every time we lined up to punt. He eventually went away from that due to how the game was going, but the first 2 kickoffs for Eastside were onside kicks, the second of which the Blazers recovered. How difficult is it for a coach to commit to that kind of game plan? Because conventional wisdom tells you, no, that's not a good idea. You're going to give short fields to opponents, but to really commit to that, I think just shows, the approach for Todd Mason that anything and everything was on the table in order to beat Bishop Luers.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you saw from when the one time that Luers decided to kick deep that, they returned it into Eastside territory just because they were able to use their speed and get down the field. And I've seen Luers do that, multiple times now against teams from the NACC. They did it against West Noble when they were up a class in 3A a couple of years ago. And just those teams that just have that speed advantage, and teams from the NACC just don't have that or just not used to seeing it, that they can't keep up with that type of speed coming from multiple different areas and even in the special teams. And for Todd Mason, I think, he's had the goal. He's said it all season long that this team has the goal of getting down to Lucas Oil. So it doesn't surprise me that they, put everything on the table in arguably their biggest game of the season. And now they're just getting bigger if they keep advancing on. And I expect, Eastside to, pull out all the stops tomorrow night against Eastbrook. I mean, it feels like now that they got past their biggest challenge so far, that everything is going to be on the table from here on out.
All right, Brice, let's look at some basketball here real quick. Girls basketball has gotten started. Let's start with the Garrett Railroaders, and a lot of people consider them Arguably the best team in the area, and I know a lot of SAC fans will take exception, but the Railroaders off to a 2-0 start, lopsided wins over Woodland and Heritage over the first couple games. They go to Noblesville coming up on Saturday, which could be their first big test of the year. But what makes this Garrett team so good and potentially the best team in Northeast Indiana?
I think it's just the depth that they have and the experience with that depth. And I don't mean depth as far as, they have, 4 or 5 girls that could come off the bench because they don't have that. They like to rotate in, maybe a max of 3, but mostly 2 girls throughout the game. But the depth in the starting lineup, a lot of teams around the area, you'll have, 2 to 3 girls that are pretty good. You might have one special who's really good. And it's a special player like an Ayanna Patterson. But then Garrett just has, so many from the Morgan Ostrowski, Taylor Gerke, Natalie Armstrong, Bailey Kellum, Faith Owen. It's just those girls all can produce on any given night, and they can give you double figures on any given night. And it feels like that this team is bound for something special, and they're going to really test themselves this year. Like you said, with Noblesville this weekend, that was a point of emphasis for Bob Lapitat, was to beef up their schedule so that when they get into the postseason and they face the likes of Angola and the Concordias that have been in their way, these last couple of years, not only in the sectional, but then, hopefully when they get, to a regional, that they're able to, compete with the likes of the better teams in their class around the state. So definitely, challenging themselves in the depth that they have in their starting lineup. Their starting 5 is as good as any in the area.
As you mentioned, one team that they'll have to deal with in the NECC is Angola, and Angola lost to Carroll to start off the season in what was a very competitive game against a good Carroll team. But a lot of talk about what's going on in Angola, and can you fill us in about anything in regards to the situation there?
Well, it's, a difficult situation to talk about. They have some adversity, a controversy going on around their coaching staff. They've had some players leave the program because of, their coaching staff situation right now. And it's kind of up in the air. We don't really know exactly, how this is all going to unfold. It's definitely, could be game by game. And I think there's, some investigations going on within the school and outside of it. And for Angola, to battle against the Carroll team with all that going on is credit to the girls that are on the court. And they're definitely going to, keep being tested throughout the season as they have a stacked schedule once again, including Garrett and some other schools that are from the SAC and outside the area. So I would expect for this Angola team, with the players that they have coming back, Lauren Leach, Kylie Caswell, that, hopefully that they can keep this while they're on the court, keep this distraction, kind of in the out of their mind while they're on the court, and hopefully that they can perform and be successful on it.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Tell your child he behaved way better than you usually do when you're on the radio. So kudos.
Oh yeah. I'll tell him. That's for sure.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll catch up to you next week.
Thanks, Justin.
Yes, sir. That was Brice Vance, KPC Media Group, joining us as he does each and every week here on the High School Coaches Show. And real quick, we're going to go through potential scenarios in the semi-state in terms of who could host based on what happens. We're just going to assume all of our teams are going to win this week, other than, of course, either Adams Central or South Adams has to go down. But looking at in Class 1A at Adams Central, if Adams Central is victorious this week and Carroll Flora is victorious this week, Adams Central will host. If North Judson beats Carroll, Adams Central will hit the road. If South Adams beats the Flying Jets tomorrow night, regardless of what happens, South Adams will hit the road either to North Judson or Carroll of Flora. In Class 2A with Eastside, if Eastside wins and LaVille wins, Eastside will hit the road. If Andrean, the 59ers, get a win tomorrow night, as well as the Blazers, the 59ers will travel to Butler to take on Eastside in semi-state. In Class 3A, we look at Norwell, and whichever team wins, either Mishawaka Marion or Hanover Central, Norwell will head there, provided the Knights are victorious tomorrow night over Babuff. Looking into Class 5A and Bishop Dwenger. If Bishop Dwenger can win tomorrow night and Valpo wins, the Saints will head all the way up to Valpo for a semi-state matchup. If Michigan can take on the Saints next Friday night, and as we said at the top of this segment with Carroll Chargers, if they win tomorrow night and Maryville beats Penn, then the Pirates will head to Carroll to take on the Chargers in semi-state action. If Penn is able to beat Maryville and Carroll wins, Carroll will hit the road, head up to play the Kingsmen under the lights at Penn. So that gives you an idea of just who will go where based on what happens tomorrow. But, hey, we got 48 minutes of football to play tomorrow night throughout the area to see who advances and who doesn't. So that's a conversation for late tomorrow night. We're going to come back, talk to head coach Doug Dinan of the Carroll Chargers. We'll look at what his team is facing tomorrow night against Westfield when we come back. You're listening to the High School Coaches Show, 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
It's Menard's last 11% rebate sale of 2021. We have the largest in-stock appliance selection to take home today at the lowest prices. Choose from our great selection of top brands like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, Amana, Maytag, and Criterion. Right now, all appliances are 11% off. Menard's last 11% rebate sale of 2021 is good through Wednesday, November 24th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menard's.
Of course, she needs a college education, but I don't want her buried in student loans for the rest of her life.
It starts here.
She needs a school with great resources, but some of these campuses are so big.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI has the resources of a big university on a campus with a hometown feel. It's a more affordable option with access to career paths in Indy's world-class healthcare and sports entertainment hospitality organizations.
At those big schools, I'm worried she'll just be a number.
Hey, it starts here.
Hey, why not IUPUI?
That's what I was thinking.
The need for healthcare workers is growing, and a health sciences degree prepares students for growing careers as physician's assistant or for pre-med and pre-PT and OT programs. Partnerships at Indy hospitals and research facilities provide hands-on learning opportunities.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI. It starts here. Learn more at shhs.iupui.edu.
I can't think of any way to improve upon the service that I receive.
Gibson's Heating and Plumbing is your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer that is ranked #1 out of nearly 300 dealers nationwide in customer satisfaction. Here's what Gibson's customers are saying.
The office is always courteous. Gibson's service tech is exceptional in his attitude and performance, and is friendly and efficient as he follows up and explains what he's done that day and what needs to be done if there's going to be a follow-up. Kudos to Gibson's for their outstanding service.
Your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Gibson'sHeating.com.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. Download and get started with a risk-free bet of up to $5,000. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt U.S. Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Here's more from the High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone, for the final time here on the Regional Championship edition of the High School Coaches Show. I'm Justin Kenny. He is John Graham producing. We're here for about 11 or so more minutes. Coming up tonight here on 1380 The Fan, you can hear Indiana Pacers at the Utah Jazz. Coverage begins at 8:30. Tomorrow night in a later kickoff, will be the Westfield Shamrocks and the Carroll Chargers. You can hear that here. Caleb Hatch will have all the action. Starting at 8 o'clock, kickoff out at Carroll High School. Head coach of the Chargers is Coach Doug Dinan, who joins us right now. Coach, how are you?
I'm very, very good. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And, another home game. There's a potential of having, you host next week. So, you haven't had to travel very far for this postseason trip so far.
Yeah, well, one week at a time. Nobody's getting ahead of anything here, but it has been a blessing. It has been a blessing that we have played at home, without question. I mean, that's got to be advantageous. We don't have to get on the bus and drive 1 hour or 2 hours or, whether it's been to Westfield or to Warsaw, whatever that is. So, yeah, it's been nice, and you build a new stadium and you get to use it continually throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, most definitely. Coach, you guys shut out your rival in the first week of the sectional, and that's impressive. And then you go, okay, Warsaw's coming in. They're averaging close to 35 a game. We know how challenging their offense can be to contain, and you shut them out. And it's the third straight shutout for you guys overall. Take us through, the process of preparing for Warsaw and being able to execute what you game planned.
Well, first of all, defending any option team, let alone a flexbone team, is very difficult because option teams force you to play assignment football. And so, we had to have guys assigned to the dive. We had to have guys assigned to the quarterback. We had to have guys assigned to the pitch. We had to adjust some things in our defense. And, and hats off to all the defensive players and defensive coaches. But, when we met, Coach Rudolph and I and defensive staff, when we met, way back when in the off season and implemented our new defense, it had to be a defense that you did not have to change wholeheartedly to be able to defend a multitude of offenses. And Warsaw was one of those schools that was in mind in that installation. And so our kids handled it. Our kids, played assignment football, and they played extremely hard. Warsaw gained yards, and they're going to. They're very disciplined in what they do. They have a very strong offensive line. They have a very good running back. So they gained some yards. But, when it mattered, our defense made plays. They created turnovers, and they got the ball back to the offense and kept Warsaw out of the end zone, and that was the most important thing.
And, Coach, offensively, it's maybe something we take for granted of late because the defense has been so sensational, but they continue to do their job. And I think I don't want to skip over that offensive front because we center so much on Jeff Becker and the skill players, but that offensive line this year has been tremendous for you.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, that's the key to it all. They are the heart and soul. You don't have good offenses without a good offensive line, without question. And they run block, they pass block, and they do those things well. And they continue to get better. And they're a very unified group. They're a tight group of kids, and they're kind of a microcosm of our whole team. Being very tight, very organized, very unified. But they continually do their job. And their job is to give the skill guys the opportunity to gain yards, whether it be through the air or on the ground.
Coach, when you look at the challenge coming up with Westfield tomorrow, it's a team that averages over 35 points per game and a very difficult Hoosier Crossroads conference. What have you seen on tape that really has kind of stood out with the Shamrocks?
Well, they're very similar. They are. I mean, they're balanced run and pass. They have a good quarterback. Reminds you a lot of Jeff. Maybe a couple inches taller. That's about it. They have an offensive line that does the same thing, that puts them in position to make good plays. But they're disciplined, on the offensive side. They typically don't turn the ball over much. And so that's what they want to be on the offensive side. They want to take care of the football. They want to put themselves in good situations. Defensively, they'll switch between a 3-4 and a 4-3, or a 4-2-5, and they'll play a robber with an invert linebacker, but all those things are things that that we have seen at some time or another, and so both offensively and defensively, they're balanced and they're a good football team without question. There's 4 teams left in the North. Everybody playing right now is good football teams, including Maryville and Penn. There's good football teams left in the North. And so we've got to be disciplined. We've got to do those things that we have done all year. We've got to be better, and we've got to continually take care of the football. And we've got to create turnovers, and we've got to, keep the other team out of the end zone.
Coach, you mentioned being able to take some things from different games and based on what Westfield does and how that relates to maybe some opponents you've played earlier this year. Any particulars in regards to what Westfield does in relation to maybe some SAC opponents you've played?
Well, I mean, scheme-wise, they're similar to other teams, but there's always difference in personnel. They've got a defensive end. Popeye Williams is a Division I recruit, and you got to know where that guy's at. But as much as it is about scheme, as much as it is about understanding, where they're going to line, how they're going to be against different formations, and the same thing on the offensive side. What you anticipate, it boils down to who blocks the best, who tackles the best, who controls the line of scrimmage the best, and that's what it's going to boil down to on Friday night. If we do those things and we play extremely hard and take care of the football and play great defense like we've been playing, then we've got a chance, and that's all we ask for.
I feel, Coach, it's maybe unfamiliar territory for Carroll recently, and Westfield's playing in their second straight regional. But, being at home, does that help? And I feel like your group, it doesn't really matter this year. They'll play anybody anywhere. So does that kind of negate that potential advantage for Westfield?
Yeah, there's always that comfort level when you're playing at home. Your routine is the same. You're in your own locker room. You're after school, you don't have a crazy routine of jumping on the bus and driving for 2 hours. You're going through your play at home routine. Whether that be go home, whether it be go get something to eat or come to the locker room early, whatever that routine is for that player, they're going to do that same thing. And that's the comfort of being at home, and that comfort breeds a little courage, and the courage will continue to multiply over time, and and hopefully it shows progress and gives us a chance to be successful in the end.
All right, Coach. Hey, I appreciate you joining us. Thanks a lot. Congratulations on a sectional championship. But I know unfinished business at hand, hosting Westfield tomorrow night. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. That was Coach Doug Dinan, head coach of the Carroll Chargers. His team 10-1, and will face Westfield tomorrow night, also 10-1. Of course, the Westfield Shamrocks a year ago played the Sectional 3 winner, which was Homestead, and the Spartans went down 42-9 on the road at Westfield. That was a Shamrocks team that then went to Maryville and won, and then lost to Center Grove by 25 in the state championship game, which is it's no ugly feat when you lose to Center Grove. Let's be honest. They could beat probably a fair amount of low-tier college teams for sure in the FCS or down lower. But Westfield trying to make it back down to state for the second straight season, but the Carroll Chargers trying to do something about that tomorrow night. Again, it's a later kickoff, 8 o'clock tomorrow night from Carroll Stadium. So if you're headed out to that game, don't show up at 7, although you may want to if you want to get a good seat. I'm sure it'll be packed out there. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you to Coach Doug Dinan for joining us. Also, the Mosers, Coach Michael Moser of Adams Central, Coach Grant Moser of South Adams, and also our buddy Brice Vance of KPC Media Group joining us to talk some football and basketball. That's going to do it for us. Check out the game tomorrow night, Westfield and Carroll. You can listen to it here, 8 o'clock on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. We'll be back next week, talk some semi-state football. Hopefully we have several teams vying for berths in the state championship. Until next week, for Mr. John Graham, I am Justin Kenny. This has been the High School Coaches Show, 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Thanks for listening to this exclusive presentation of 1380 The Fan, the high school coaches show with Justin Kenny on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Download the podcast at 1380thefan.com or wherever you get podcasts. Broadcasting Broadcasting live from the Masters Heating and Cooling Studios. This is WKJG 1380 AM, 100.9 FM, Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Fan. Balls.
That's the beauty of making predictions.
Mike Harmon, Jason Smith.
Yes, well played.
It's the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon. Weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. Mornings on FS1. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. Weekdays at 9:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Podcasts by Federated Media.